Right, so this right here is a 2 meter long piece of rain gutter which I picked up this morning from B&Q for the amazing price of €9.40. Now in this video I'm going to attempt to turn this gutter into some lovely looking side skirts for my K11 Nissan Micra. So the first step of course would be figuring out how much gutter we actually need. In my case for my K11 Micra we're only going to need 1.69 meters roughly. Just out of curiosity, in most cases 2 meters is going to be more than plenty. As you can see on this Mark V Jetta, we only would need like what, 1.85. Now, ignore the fact that I'm missing my whole passenger side sill. And just as a side note, I'm definitely not making these side skirts to hide this until I get a new sill. Okay, that is not the reason why. Anyway, this whole gutter side skirt idea is definitely not new. People have been doing it for years. Next up, what you want to figure out is, depending on your car of course, how you want to mount it. Obviously, just to clarify, we will be cutting this gutter down the middle to make 2 side skirts, but I've seen people mount it under the sill, somewhat like this. But in my case, I'm going to try mount it flush with the bottom of the door. And once we cut the gutter to the size we want, we're just going to screw this part of the gutter into here. Or same goes if you want to mount it under the sill, just drill up into it and put a screw in there. In my case, since I don't want these side skirts to stick out too much, I'm only going to leave 1.5 centimeters of space right here. So we're going to cut somewhere along there. Once you finish making a perfectly straight cut along the line you drew, you can go back to your car and see if they fit, which hopefully, of course, they do. There we go, that seems to be the right size. Now, if you decide to mount your side skirts underneath your sills, unlike me, you can skip this next step. But if you want to put them on the way I'm going to do it, here's what's next. Whether you do this next step or not, it's still probably going to be universal, so you can put it under the door or under the sill. So, get a ruler and measure the amount of space from the front of the arch to the first place where you can mount it under the door. In my case, this seems to be 11.5. So I've made a mark here at 11.5 from this edge to here. And this area we're all going to cut out so the skirt can fit flush with the front wing. And then obviously same thing back here, which in this case, if we want a flat surface, it's going to be also 11.5. With both those measurements marked correctly, let's go ahead and cut them out. And now for the moment of truth. Alright, not too bad. Now, next up, get yourself some screws. I got here some 4 by 20mm chipboard screws, but we're going to be using them on metal because after all we're making side skirts out of gutter. And drill some holes into your car and mount your skirts. And just like that already, we have our skirts pretty much mounted, but we are far from done. Now, if you're happy with how these look for you, that's great, but next up I want to make this small cardboard template which I'm going to cut out of the same material as the gutter, which will make 2 caps at the front and back of the skirt. Right here I've drawn the template onto the plastic, so let's cut it. And right here we have the 2 pieces of plastic, and next up we're going to get some glue, preferably something like quite strong, and we're going to glue them onto the outer part of this. Also make sure to scuff them up where you put the glue, both on the pieces of plastic and also on the skirts themselves. Now these don't need to go on 100% perfect because we're going to trim them down and sand them before we paint them, so as long as they're on, let them set and you're going to be good to go. And after letting them set overnight, they are now solid. I've added a bit of reinforcement back there just to hold it all together. We will now grab the grinder with a very smooth flap disc and trim all of the axis there and make it nice and smooth. Now that we've got the end caps all nice and flush with the actual side skirts, I'm going to grab these abrasive pads, the scuff pads, and scuff it all down, sand down the rougher parts, such as the places where we have drilled the holes. And then we're going to hit it with some primer, followed by some black paint. And after letting the paint dry, this right here is how the side skirts turned out. I'm fairly happy with the result. I mean, after all, keep in mind these are literally pieces of gutter screwed onto the side of my car. So the expectations weren't high to start with, but I got them looking pretty much just how I wanted them to end up looking. It was a fun DIY project to do, and although there are imperfections in them, I really don't mind it. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, all the links to the TikTok, Instagram and everything else are in the description. If you found this video interesting and would like to see me put a turbo on this car, make sure to go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you in the next one.